Ayo, what's good guys? Welcome back to Annie Recapped. In today's episode, we bring you Dragon Raja. Before we dive in though, if you want to find more awesome animes to watch from all over the world, do subscribe to Annie Recapped and ring that notification bell to never miss out. Now let's get to the show. A boy named Lu Mingfei receives a letter from a prestigious college, Castle, so he visits America for his admission, but when he asks the security guard about the train timing, he calls Mingfei a beggar and leaves. This treatment leaves him feeling anxious and out of place. Suddenly, a young man named Finger Von Fringes approaches Mingfei and realizes that he is also a student at Castle College and tells him that he too is a senior there. Finger informs Mingfei that Castle is located deep in the mountains and is isolated from the outside world, and only the school's secret train can reach the campus, so they must wait for the secret train to arrive. Mingfei sits and waits for the train to come when he eventually falls asleep and has a dream about a boy who seems to have known Mingfei for a long time. The sound of the secret train wakes up Mingfei, and a man emerges from the shadows to examine the students' cards. Both Finger and the guard are shocked to discover that Mingfei is an S-ranked student, on par with the school's principal. On the train, a professor greets Mingfei and wants to have a private conversation where he explains the school's confidentiality and reveals that the subjects they study are dragons and the purpose of their research is to exterminate them. Mingfei initially believes that the professor is suffering from a mental illness, but then he faints and meets the boy from his dream who shows him where the ancestor of all dragons, Nidhogg, was slain 1,000 years ago. When Mingfei wakes up, the professor tries to convince him the dragons really exist by presenting two ancient relics, a dragon scale and a yellow baby dragon in a black box. Even after shooting the scale and witnessing the baby dragon's aggressive attempts to break out of the box, Mingfei is still skeptical. However, as he enters the college, he ultimately realizes that dragons do exist and that he has no choice but to accept the study there, because otherwise he will be brainwashed. The professor explains that according to their research, some highly ranked dragons are lying dormant in China, and the purpose of training the students here is to kill those dragons eventually. As they talk, a siren rings, causing two groups to engage in a furious fight with each other, killing everyone in sight, causing one of the bullets to hit the professor and make him faint. Soon as everyone dies, the leaders of the two groups named Caesar Gattuso and Chu Ziheng engage in their sword fight while a fellow student named Nono dies in front of Mingfei that angers him, and he takes up a gun and shoots both leaders of the opposing teams. After the battle, the school nurses attend to the wounded, including the professor, and it is revealed that the battle was just a training exercise and the bullets were only anesthetic. Another professor named Manstein angrily calls the principal for an end to such exercises, but the principal supports the students and even congratulates Mingfei, an S-ranked rookie, for defeating the bright students, which makes Mingfei quickly become the center of attention among the students. Somewhere else, the principal is also criticized by his colleague named Mance, but the principal takes a stance by claiming that he doesn't want to repeat the mistake that happened 8 years ago. At the dormitory, Finger takes Mingfei on a Castle College tour. Showing him different classrooms and courses, Finger also explains Yanling, a type of magic that draws power from the resonance between dragons and their lineage, which fascinates Mingfei, and he also explains that the students are not allowed to use this power openly, as Manstein's father obstructed them by using his Yanling. During the tour, as Mingfei walks around an area where students are allowed to use their Yanling, he comes across a dying tree known as the World Tree, which was a replica carved by the college where the Black Dragon King was sealed. Soon after that, the professor visits Mingfei to conduct a test involving the Dragon King's roar, and he also explains it. Soon, the professor plays the song Imperium from the music box to awaken Mingfei's dragon bloodline, but Mingfei doesn't feel anything and falls asleep instead, which makes the professor realize something, and he runs away in fear. Finger takes advantage of the situation and posts news about Mingfei's lack of response to Imperium Yanning on the college website, but Mingfei shows his worries to Finger that he will fail the exam, which will result in brainwashing and being sent back to his country. The professor gets in contact with Manstein, believing that Mingfei might be related to the White Emperor, an entity that opposed the Black Emperor centuries ago, and he might be the only descendant. The professors decide to keep Mingfei's lack of response to Imperium Yanling a secret, and Manstein agrees to do so if Mingfei can pass the next exam. At night, a mysterious man activates the EVA personality program, which is also named Norma, to help Mingfei pass the exam. The next day, Mingfei runs to the exam room and remembers what Finger told him that the exam involves listening to the sounds of dragons and answering them by drawing 8 symbols, which are the same every year. During the exam, Mingfei falls asleep and meets the same boy who claims that his name is Lu Mingzi and speaks incomprehensible words as he tries to make Mingfei recall his memories, although Mingfei doesn't understand them. Mingfei walks up when Nono calls out to him and claims that the exam is over. Afterward, Fingers celebrates with Ming-Fei as he passed the exam thanks to cheating. Meanwhile, in the middle of the sea, Ye Sheng and Aki are tasked with finding dragon traces, so they dive into the sea and use the Norma system to scan the terrain. Aki suggests that Ye Sheng use his empty snake ability to search, and when he uses it, he discovers a lot of metal 40 meters below the surface. But before they can move forward, a magnitude of 5 earthquake occurs on the seabed, causing them to lose contact with their ship. Soon after, the duo contacts the ship by using their ability and claims that they got swept away by the water and are in front of the palace of the Dragon King Norton. On the ship, Professor Mance requests the principal's approval to use the only key that the college has, which is a purebred baby boy, to open the door to the Dragon King Norton's palace. The boy, with the help of his blood, manages to awaken the Guardian and obtain the key to open the door. The professor then sends Ye Sheng and Aki on a mission to retrieve the skeleton of the Dragon King. As they enter the palace, they find themselves in an extremely complex structure where Ye Sheng asks Aki to take photos of the pillar and the branches and send them to the Norma system for analysis, while Ye Sheng decides to look for the snake that got trapped before. As Aki is taking pictures, suddenly dragon speak is seen on the branches that spike Aki's heart rate, and her lifeline is cut off, and she activates a trap by touching a bronze statue. Fortunately, Ye Sheng manages to rescue her from the control of the statue and explains that he found an urn that looks like an egg and has decided to take it with him. However, as they try to leave, they become trapped in the palace as it starts to change constantly. At the college, Lu Mingze visits Ming-Fei again and claims that someone is going to die soon and he might need a coat to help them. While a siren blares and high-level demolition students are urgently summoned by the professor who explained the situation and asks for the students' assistance to rescue them, but the chances of rescuing them seem almost impossible, as the time limit turns out to be only 20 minutes because they have only a little oxygen left, but still the students try their best. Ming-Fei, also wanting to help, remembers his dream and decides to decipher the labyrinth of the North Dragon Palace to find a way out for Ye Sheng and Aki. As Ming-Fei enters the code, the maze of the tomb gets solved and the data is sent to the ship where Mance gets in contact with Ye Sheng to explain the data received. As the duo tries to escape, they are still not able to understand the solved maze as it changes again and again. Ye Sheng asks for the key to help them in the process and show them that the path is available from beneath. Even though Mance thinks that the duo is out of the woods, but the two of them realize that they don't have enough oxygen to make it out of the tomb, so Aki tries to confess her feelings to Ye Sheng, who suddenly kisses her and claims that they will survive. This sudden realization also hits Mance as he orders lifeboats to look for them and blames himself for not calculating this beforehand. Soon, a crying Aki approaches the lifeboat while claiming that Ye Sheng is dead and hands over the egg to them, but all of a sudden, a creature captures Aki and kills her. The creature, which turns out to be a dragon, starts to approach the ship while Mance uses his gun to kill it and soon orders the crew to launch bombs in the creature's direction so that he eats it and the bombs explode. Thinking that the creature is dead, Mance appreciates his assistant, but the dragon attacks again and kills her. Grieving from another loss, Mance orders the crew to quickly move the ship in the direction of the dam and uses the key's ability to open the dam's door while the dragon gets stuck in it. Even though Mance tries his best to save everyone on the ship, he still gets wounded by the dragon. At the school, the principal announces the news that the mission was a success, and soon they leave to get to the dormitory, but they hear the bell rings and Zi Hang tells Ming-Fei that these bells ring when they lose anyone from their school to grieve them, and even asks Ming-Fei to join his club Lionheart, which he refuses instantly. The principal visits the wounded Mance to get the report of his last mission. Mance explains the situation and asks the principal to not announce his death to the children as he takes his last breath. The next day, Ming-Fei gets an invitation from Nono to a welcoming party that is being held at Caesar's place, and all of the newcomers are invited. Ming-Fei shows his discomfort to Fingers that he doesn't want to go, but Fingers explains Caesar's family history to Ming-Fei and also claims that his family is the richest in the West. At night, as everyone gathers to enjoy the party, Nono is welcomed by Caesars on a bed of roses, and all of them head inside. Before the dance, Caesar announces Nono's birthday and everyone congratulates her, while Caesar also delivers a heartwarming speech for the newcomer and welcomes all of them to his club, the Student Union, especially asking Ming-Fei to join him as well. As Ming-Fei doesn't do well under pressure, he decides to stay where he is and the dance begins. A girl named Zero approaches Ming-Fei for a dance and takes the spotlight as she dances elegantly with Ming-Fei. Soon the song ends and Zero and Nono leave, making Ming-Fei feel out of place, so he decides to approach Nono and wish her a happy birthday. Nono asks Ming-Fei to join her for her ride to the mountain. Soon after, Norma activates the school defenses while she also gets in contact with the students and finds out that a group of thieves has attacked the college. Lu Mingze visits Ming-Fei again while he is driving and explains Nono's situation that she recently lost her friends, Aki and Ye Sheng. and even gives Mingfei another gift that might help him get Nono's attention, but their car stops before they can reach the top. Meanwhile, the students prepare themselves for the upcoming fight, and the teachers think that the reason intruders attacked is an egg that they found at the sea, and decide to get in contact with Manstein's father, the person that has put the barrier around the school so that no one can use their Yanling. The intruders' leader lets one of her comrades know that they are getting cornered at the school, and she provides assurance that everything will get into their hands. Manstein calls his father with his request, and he hesitantly complies and breaks the barrier. As Mingfei and Nono enjoy their evening on the mountain, Mingfei offers his condolences about the loss of her friends in the recent mission, but Nono claims that not only her friends, but also her mentor Mance died in this incident, and she knows that because Mance told her that if he will die, he won't talk about his death, but will announce it by saying that he is going on another mission. That makes Mingfei think that Nono is holding a lot of pain inside, and asks her reason to stay here, and she claims that she is running from her home. Back at the college, as the barrier gets lifted, everyone gathers at their respective places to be ready for any kind of ambush. The leader of the intruder uses her ability to hide her comrades in it as they walk around without being seen. One of the intruders, Old Tong, gets a task to separately find the egg as he gets instructions through recorded messages. Caesar's party waits for the enemy in the church while he activates his ability to hear any kind of sound, which makes him realize that the imposters are already there. Caesar calls Zihang to get an update on his end, while Zihang's party members get a message from Norma, who orders them to leave the library, but Zihang still stays there. At Caesar's end, the intruders' cover gets blown when their leader named Mei, Aki's sister, gets a call from a spam number. See kids, always mute your phone while you're on a mission. Mei claims that she is here to get the egg as it will be the start of a new age, while she also claims that one of her teammates is already near Zihang. Mei decides that as soon as the song ends, her group will attack them, but the lights turn off before that, and everyone except Caesar's and Mei gets unconscious as the intruders also used anesthetic bullets. Tong gets in contact with Eva, a version of Norma, who tells Tong how to get the research facility, which startles Tong at first, but he uses this opportunity to move forward, however, falls into the water and drops his phone. In the water, he also encounters a door that he accidentally opens as he gets a vision and gets swept away. At the mountains, as Mingfei and Nono have a chat, she admits that it would be nice if Mingfei will join a student union. That makes Mingfei think that it was all a honey trap, but Nono claims that she is on his side and Caesar isn't the one that asked her to do it. Nono also explains her relationship with Caesar, claiming that they are engaged in a political agreement and she only visits the mountain to get a present for her mother who died some time ago. Which makes Mingfei use the cheat that Lu Mingze gave him, and all of a sudden, the sky lit up with fireworks and both of them enjoyed that moment of surprise and happiness. Elsewhere, Tong has to face a huge shark that leaves him without causing any harm, and Tong continues his search for the laboratory. Soon he hears some voices and realizes that the egg is in front of him as he watches a group of scientists gathered around the principal, asking him to give them the permission to dissect the egg as soon as possible. But the principal thinks otherwise and asks Norma to do an MRI of the egg, the results of which astonish everyone, as one of the egg's cavity is turned out to be empty. That makes the scientists think that they should destroy the egg as soon as possible. But the principal refuses, as he claims that if they touched it, another dragon might get hatched and can cause a catastrophe at the school. But the scientists refuse to listen to the principal. He uses a knife to threaten them and make them leave the laboratory. Tong sees this opportunity and tries to get close to the egg when he gets another vision calling him brother, but he still approaches the egg and takes tons of pictures when another disturbing vision startles him and he abandons his mission. Soon after, another person visits the lab and uses the vial to wake the dragon named Constantine inside it. At the church, as Caesar and Mei continue their fight, Caesar proposes that they should settle it in 3 moves, but as soon as Mei strikes her last attack, they hear a huge explosion that comes from the lab below that startles both of them, as Caesar claims that he couldn't hear that person's heartbeat, so he might be a dragon. And that would be it for today. What do you guys think will happen next? Who was this mysterious guy that used the ability to awaken the dragon? What is the history of Mingfei? And most importantly, who helped them pass the first exam by manipulating Eva? Guess we'll find all that in the next episode. Thank you so much for staying till the end, and make sure to like and subscribe to Annie Recap to not miss out on how this story will continue. With that said, see you on the next one. Peace!